What's going on, guys? This is Crozen and welcome to the Paladin of Lightning Dex version build for Dark Souls 3. I know a lot of you were wanting to see that Dex and Faith build, so what I thought I would do was I would make the Paladin of Lightning build and kind of replicate that, except for the Dex and Faith version, rather than using Strength and rather than using that Great Axe that you saw me use in the first video. But I was able to put out an insane amount of damage with that build, so I thought I would go back to that, except go with Dexterity this time. That way we can have a little bit faster swings on all of our weapons, and we're not going to be using that Great Axe, but we're still going to be using Faith mainly for the buffs. So as you see here, we're going to be using the Sunlight Straight Sword to apply that first buff. Then we're going with the Deep Protection buff right after that, since those do stack. And then lastly, we're going to apply the Lightning Blade onto both of our weapons. And as you see here, our main weapon that we're going to be using is the Carthus curved sword, which you can kind of get early in the game. It's like in the catacombs, so it's like after the first main cinder boss, and you can kind of start farming that and getting that early, and then you can start working around with this weapon and learning all the movesets and stuff early, so it works out in the end. So I kind of wanted to go with something a little bit unorthodox. I didn't want to go with all the same generic Faith weapons that you kind of see today, which are like the Dark Sword or the Katanas, or even like the Holy Swords, which a lot of people use for these Dex builds. So I wanted to go with the Carthus curved sword, as you see here, and in fact I actually had to do a lot of testing with this build to figure out how I can achieve the maximum damage output. So I leveled around with Dex, I leveled with Faith, and try to mess around and figure out if I should level Faith more or Dex more. I also even went with lightning infused gems to figure that out, but I found that the sharp weapon upgrade was the best way to go. But I will get into that a little further when we go into the stat menu. As far as starting out your character, you want to start with the Knight class with this build. The Knight has the least amount of luck and least amount of intelligence, and we're not going to be leveling either of those, so this class works out perfectly for this build. And I know I'm kind of saying this in every single video, but the Knight really is the best class in this game for like 80% of all the builds. So we want to start out with that, and I will be right back, guys, where I show you all of my stats for this character. I show you all my weapons and my rings, and show you how to apply all the buffs in order to achieve the most damage with this build. So I will be right back in a second. Alright, so here we are in the stat menu, and as you see, we have 30 Vigor, we have 15 Attunement, we have 30 Endurance, we have 15 Vitality, we have 15 Strength, we have 43 Dex, which I leveled this up to 38, and the ring is giving me a +5. We have 9 Intelligence, we have 35 Faith, which I got to 30, and the ring is giving me +5 to Faith as well, and then lastly 7 Luck. And if you take a look at my attack power on both of my right hand weapons, doesn't look like they do too much actually, but you guys will see in a sec how much damage this can actually put once all of these weapons are buffed. So speaking more into weapons, we are going to be using the Sunlight Straight Sword +5 and the Sharp Carthus Sword +10. And as far as our left hand weapons, we got the Grass Crest Shield for the stamina recovery. We have Saint's Talisman as well. That's what we're going to be using to buff up our weapons. And we are using the Painting Guardian Hood, Lothric Knight Armor, Drain Gauntlets, and Painting Guardian Waistcloth. Now you don't have to use this gear. Mainly use anything that you can get below 70%, but I thought this kind of looks pretty cool, so I might as well wear this, and I was able to get it below 70%, so that works out. And for our rings, we're using the Chloranthy ring, since this stacks with the Grass Crest Shield for stamina recovery. We're using the Hunter's ring, which gives us a +5 to Dexterity. We're using the Ring of Favor, which increases our HP, stamina, and maximum equipment load. And lastly, we are using the Priestess ring to increase our Faith by +5. And now our weapons. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this, so that way you guys kind of figure out how to do these buffs, and I want to go a little bit further into detail on this in general. So if you look, my right hand weapon 1 is the Sunlight Straight Sword. It only does 354 attack power, and then my right hand weapon 2 is the curved Carthus Sword, which as you see it only does 379, which doesn't seem like a lot. But now I want to show you guys the buffs and how this really works again, in case you did not see the first video. The first thing you want to do is get out the Sunlight Straight Sword here and do the L2 button, which will allow you to get this first buff right here, which is sort of like the Sacred Oath buff, but a little bit less, but it does stack with Deep Protection. So then you want to apply Deep Protection, and if you look now, we're up to 415 with the Sunlight Sword and 444 with the curved Carthus Sword. And then lastly, if I went ahead and added the lightning blade to the Carthus sword here, you will see that now we are all the way up to 611, which I think we were like at 374 before unbuffed. So literally almost double the damage with all of these buffs. So that is kind of why I had to really test around with this to figure out if I needed more faith in order to get this buff to go higher, or if I needed more dexterity. And I figured that as of now, soul level 100, it was best to kind of get dex in the 43-ish range and faith up to 35. That offered me the most amount of damage for this. Now, if you guys are going to soul level 120, I would definitely recommend that you put a little bit more points into Vigor. Maybe get Attunement up to 18. That way you can get 3 slots. And also probably get Faith up to 40. And maybe get Dex in the 45, 46-ish range. And that should probably give you the most amount of damage for these buffs. And that's kind of how you want to go with this, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a lot of fun to use this build in game, especially for PvP. And obviously this sword swings a lot faster than that great axe. So I think you guys will like this this build. Can't speak. So let me know what you think. And I will see you guys in the next video.